Today we're doing predictions for the Cleveland Browns 26-27 season. Right now, Vegas has them at 5.5 wins. So at the end of this video, I'm going to let you know if I think they're going to go over or under 5.5 wins. But let's get right into it with their biggest loss, Myles Garrett being traded to the Rams. Now, when this first went down, I thought it was a bad trade for the Browns, but I think it could end up making more sense than the people that thought it was a bad trade originally thought, because the Browns have a really good young core, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Jared Verse fits that age range better than Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett was getting up there in age, and let's be honest, the Browns probably weren't going to do much the next season or two when he's in his prime. So the Rams trade made sense to get the most amount of value out of Myles Garrett and pick up a young stud in Jared Verse. The Browns had lots of offensive line issues last year. They lost Jack Conklin, Cam Robinson. They also, Joe Bitonio retired. Another one not listed here is Wyatt Teller. So they lost a lot of their offensive line, as well as Jerome Ford, not a huge loss. But Jared Verse was a big pickup, but not obviously going to be the same impact as Myles Garrett. They added some offensive line help as well as in the draft. Picked up Quinton Williams to help their linebackers. But let's take a look at the Cleveland Browns roster. Another thing with the Cleveland Browns this year is they went ahead and fired their coach, Kevin Stefanski. Things were not working out. I thought it was the best move for them, and they brought in Todd Monken. And that was a head scratch of a hire at first, but I think Todd Monken has started to win over a lot of fans and players. Seems to be definitely a player's coach. Kevin Stefanski was lacking some of those qualities. So we'll see how that pans out with the new coach. But the big question is going to be a quarterback. I mean, is Deshaun Watson going to start? Shedeur Sanders going to start? I don't think Dylan Gabriel is going to start for them or play much. If Dylan Gabriel is playing for them this season, it's going to be all bad for them. And then they picked up Taylon Green in the draft. Quinton Judkins, he's had a really good start to his career and expect a lot out of him in year two. Got Jeudy at receiver. Not a huge fan of him. I think he's inconsistent, but they picked up Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston, so they needed help at the receiver position. And I heard Jeudy was missing the optional practices, and as soon as the Browns drafted two receivers early in the draft, he started showing up. So he might have a fire lit under his ass, and we'll see if things change this year for them. But definitely an upgrade at the receiver position. Harold Fannin, a phenomenal rookie year, so I expect him to continue being a really good piece for them. Now, another note, they did lose David Njoku. I forgot to mention that earlier in our losses. So they lost David Njoku, but Harold Fannin was stepping right into his role, so no worries there. It's going to be interesting to see how this new offensive line meshes together. On the defensive side of the ball, Mason Graham, Malik Collins. We've got a very young roster here on defense. Carson Schlesinger with a phenomenal rookie year. Picked up Quinton Williams. Denzel Ward, he's starting to get up there in age. I thought maybe they would look to possibly trade him with kind of turn over the roster and becoming a little bit younger. Grant Delpit, Ronnie Hickman, Tyson Campbell, who they traded for last year. So this defense is young. They have a young team overall, but it's going to be tough for the Browns this year, and let's see if they can get to 5.5 wins. So when you take a look at their schedule, got Jaguars week 1. I think that will be a loss at the Jaguars. Then they have the Bucks week 2. That will probably be a loss. The Panthers, I think that could be a win potentially, but it might be tough with the team, so we're going to call that a loss. With the Steelers, the Browns seem to always at least take one from the Steelers, so we'll give them one win there. The Jets, I think they can beat the Jets. That's 2 wins. Ravens, I think they're going to lose. Titans, between the Titans and Saints here, Titans, Steelers, Saints, we already gave them a win versus the Steelers. And Jets, I think that of the Titans and Steelers, Saints here, that they can pick up another win. That would be 3 wins. Then we have the Texans. I think that'll be a loss. We have the Raiders. That could go either way, but we can give them a win there to be at 4. Bengals, I think they'll lose, although it's late in the season. Joe Burrow could be hurt. Falcons, I think that'll be a loss. The Giants, this could go either way, but I think they could potentially pick up a win between the Giants and Colts here late in the year. The Ravens, that'll probably be a loss. And the Bengals, that would put them at around 5 wins. And when we look at what FanDuel has them set at, they have over under 5.5 wins. Given the new coach, the total question mark right now at quarterback and starting Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders, I think it's going to be pretty difficult with a lot of new faces, new rookie wide receivers. I think it's going to be definitely a growth year for the Cleveland Browns once again. But I like the value of the under 5.5 better than the over 5.5. Both are set at -110, but it's just going to be difficult. Bringing a new coach in, the question marks at quarterback. I think they have a young core, and if they have a rough season and get a high draft pick and are able to get a quarterback in this next draft, which is a very strong draft, I think they do have a chance at being an okay team if they can figure out the quarterback position that they've been trying to figure out for 20 years. The only competent quarterback they've had is Baker Mayfield, and they let him go. So if they can't get a quarterback, they're not going to be able to win games. I like the under 5.5 on the Browns. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the other 31 NFL teams that I go over. And if you want help researching any of your player or team props, I use DataStreak for that. Link is in the description. Make sure to check it out if you have not yet, and I'll see you in the next video.